Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop. And this is my first impressions look on Kyrie's shoe, right? So this is the shoe that Kyrie is going to wear probably for next season. Also, he's been wearing this shoe in the Drew League. He's been playing there. But yeah, of course, this is the Anta Shockwave 5 and it retails for $114. I don't know why it's 114, that's weird. But it retails for 114 bucks on Famuji. So if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave a link in the description box. But yeah, as you guys all know, Kyrie left Nike, or Nike kind of canceled him, I guess, right? And now he's signed with Anta. It was a 5-year deal, I believe, and he's kind of like the creative director. He has full creative control over his shoe, right? Which is pretty dope. But anyways, again, links will be in the description box, but let's get started right off with the Tracciones. In this colorway, we have kind of like an off-white pattern, right? And it's kind of like a very modified herringbone traction pattern. And we have this like triangle pattern going throughout the entire outsole, besides right here where the ball of your foot is kind of like in the forefoot, right? We have like a more of a wavy pattern, and we got some holes too, right? So how does the traction feel? The traction feels really good so far on my wood floors. It has a really nice bite and also a nice little high-pitched squeak. So, I mean, Anta usually makes very good outsoles. I don't know what it is with the rubber. Also with Li Ning, it just sticks. It has a very sticky outsole, I guess. But whatever rubber compound that they've been using in all of their shoes, like all their shoes that I've tried, it's really good. So, and it's feeling very good. And obviously, if you're going to be making a shoe that Kyrie's going to be wearing, you kind of need traction, you know what I mean? So yeah, the traction so far is feeling really good. Of course, we're going to have to see on the performance on dust. Hopefully it doesn't pick up too much dust. Obviously, I don't know yet because I haven't played in these. And also durability is gonna be very freaking good, right? Anta, I mean, Chinese companies in general usually make very durable outsoles for their demographic in China, because I heard Chinese people, they usually play basketball outdoors, right? The rubber is super hard. The grooves are very thick and deep, so you should be fine playing on an outdoor court. This is gonna be a very durable outsole. So traction is feeling really good so far. And also here in the forefoot, as you guys can see, you can see the holes, right? And exposes a plastic piece. And the plastic piece, this is called, they're calling this a crossover acceleration TPU piece, right? So we have one here in the forefoot. So I don't really know how that's gonna help a crossover acceleration. Maybe because this piece is going perpendicular to the shoe, right? So when you're doing these types of movements, maybe it'll like kind of flex back a little bit and give you a little bit more speed, like rebound back in that direction. But honestly, it's probably negligible. You know what I mean? And also, we can see a carbon fiber midfoot shank plate, right? Of course, for torsional support. And now moving on to the heel to toe transition. It feels pretty damn smooth so far. It is very caged here in the heel, and also just on the lateral side, and just like in the entire heel actually, right? Besides just this part on the medial side of the shoe in the midfoot. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty smooth here in the heel. It does feel a little clunky, however, and then in the forefoot, we have a nice curved shape and a good amount, look at that, a good amount of forefoot flex, but it does not really bend in the midfoot because of the carbon fiber midfoot shank plate. So overall heel to toe transition does feel pretty good. And now moving on to the cushioning setup. So they're using nitrogen foam. And like I just said, I guess it is a little exposed on the lateral side right here, and also on the medial side, but yeah, it's freaking low to the ground, which is good, right? So these have really good court feel. And as far as the insole goes, the insole's alright. You know, it's just a regular type of insole. It doesn't feel amazing, but it does add for a little bit of step-in comfort, you know what I mean? And then underneath that, we have a pretty nice strobe board. But as you guys can see in the midfoot, there's the carbon fiber midfoot shank plate. So that black piece right there, it's really stiff. But in the heel, it does get kind of soft, and it does have a little bit of a crash back, kinda. But for the most part, I feel like it's because this foam is actually pretty thin, right? Because the court feel is really good. So you can't, well, I can't really feel all too much step-in comfort. I mean, just a tiny bit because the strobe board is a little bit softer, right? But it's still not amazing, right? So I feel like they were going for a really good court feel, and also responsiveness because Kyrie, you know, it's Kyrie, he needs to be quick on his feet. which makes sense, right? Hopefully the impact protection is good and hopefully my feet don't hurt, but it feels like it'll be pretty good just because nitrogen foam is very, very soft, you know? And I feel like, you know, just from my first impressions, it'll probably be adequate for impact protection, but court feels gonna be very good. It's gonna be a very responsive shoe and step and comfort feels pretty good so far. So it'll probably play like a very, very responsive cushioning setup, which I'm not mad at, you know, but if you want anything crazy from your cushioning setup, then this probably isn't the best option. Like if you want crazy bounce, crazy comfort, crazy compression, obviously, like I said, here in the heel, it's super caged, right? So, which kind of sucks. They're using a lot of plastic. It's not even like soft plastic. It's a pretty stiff plastic. So yeah, there is the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the material. So the material isn't terrible actually, right? So we have kind of like a mesh material here in the toe box, and there's a kind of like a screen mesh. It's like a plastic screen mesh kind of over it. So it's pretty much dual layered and it's really, really thin. It conforms to your foot very well, but also it's super supportive. It doesn't really stretch at all. And also we have the rubber coming up all the way. It kind of wraps all the way into the toe box, right? Like, kind of like right over your big toe a little bit, right? So you have really good, I guess you have really good durability if you do toe drags. I mean, you can't get better than this, right? And also, I guess you get a little bit of traction when you're doing toe drags. I don't know, but I guess that's pretty good. And then all around that, we have a good amount of fuse. Look at all that fuse, right? It's actually a pretty thin fuse. It doesn't feel like super cheap as far as the fuse and synthetic materials go. So it's not a huge deal for me. And then for the tongue, we have a pretty open mesh. And also we have like an average amount of padding. I would say it's kind of plush, but not super plush, right? And it's also kind of like it's almost like a full booty, like it's kind of like a one booty upper kind of, because the tongue kind of reminds me of like, it's kind of like a sock. So when you put it on, you kind of have this like entire tongue underneath the synthetic material, and it kind of wraps around your foot, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. It helps also to keep the tongue in place and all that. And also here in the ankle area, we have some really nice padding, right? We have some crazy Achilles pillows. Obviously that'll improve the comfort, and it does feel very comfortable here in the back of the shoe. And also it'll improve the lockdown a lot. So I really like how that feels. And also the lining feels really nice. You know, this material feels very quality, very premium. And obviously we have, you know, the Anta logo here on the lateral side. And also some synthetic materials here in the back of the heel, right? Also, we kind of have this material coming down a little bit. It's a really thin material, so I don't really think it does all too much, but we have one here on the lateral side and also on the medial side in the midfoot. And also we have a little bit of a flywire cable. It's just on the lateral side for these two eyelets, and there's nothing as far as flywire cables go here on the medial side, but that'll also help for lockdown and also a little bit of support. But yeah, honestly, this material feels really nice on foot. It feels overall minimal and thin. And also here in the back of the shoe, it feels really, really nice with these Achilles pads and also with this material. So the material, especially only for 115 bucks, I feel like it's pretty damn good. Now moving on to the fit, I went true to size. And it fits me very, very well, right? It's a very, very snug fit though, however, so be careful with that. I like to have a very snug fit in my ball shoes. So if you want that, then go true to size, right? Because lengthwise, true to size, I was good to go. My toes go pretty much right to the edge of the shoe. Also widthwise, it is pretty damn narrow, so be careful about that. But like I said, I like to have a very snug fit. And then here in the toe box, it's also a very snug toe box. So yeah, going true to size for me was very, very good. If you want kind of like a little bit of a looser fit, then go up half a size. But if you have a wide foot or you want a really roomy fit, probably go up a full size because it is a really, really snug fit. And also, like I said, this kind of like one booty tongue gives you a really snug fit as well, which I do like. So the fit for me was great. Now moving on to the support and lockdown, I mean, obviously it's Kyrie, he's doing crazy crossovers, he's doing crazy cuts, crazy lateral movement, so he's gonna need a lot of lateral containment, right? And it looks to be good here in the Shockwave 5. So here in the forefoot, I just like on the lateral side, right? We have all this is all plastic. Look at this. It's kind of like a spiky pattern. You know, I guess, Kyrie likes spiky patterns, especially with the teeth and the Kyries, But anyways, here in the forefoot is plastic. It's very, very supportive. We also have this synthetic material. Here in the midfoot, we have this plate. It cages the cushion and also kind of acts as a sidewall a little bit. And then here in the heel, we have this plastic coming up acting as a sidewall, and it seems to have an internal TPU heel counter. So lateral containment feels like it's gonna be very good. And also look at the outrigger. The outrigger is very, very wide. It's very, very sharp. So you have a very wide base. So lateral stability feels like it's gonna be very good. And one thing I didn't mention is the outsole curvature. There's not really a crazy outsole curvature. There's just a tiny bit, which does feel pretty nice. I do like how the outsole does come up on the medial side a little bit, so you get a little bit more grip when you're doing these types of movements. So that's kind of nice, but it's not as good as like the old school Kyries, you know, like the Kyrie 2, 3, and 4. I would say it's a little bit more similar to the Kyrie like 5, 6, and 7. But it's still not as curved as those shoes, right? It more just has the rubber coming up on the medial side, so that kind of sucks, but it's not terrible, right? And now moving on to the weight of the shoe. It feels like average. I'm guessing like 12, 13 ounces. Yeah, 12.85 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 12.8 ounces, right? So the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces, so that's pretty much average weight. And yeah, this shoe feels really nice on foot, you know? I'm guessing the extra weight is probably coming from the outsole. The outsole, like this rubber is kind of thick, and also maybe all this plastic. But yeah, it feels minimal on foot because of the upper, and it feels like it's gonna be very responsive because the traction feels very good. The cushion's super low to the ground. It feels responsive for the cushion too. So I like how it feels on foot so far. Now moving on to the aesthetics, I really like it. You know, Anta's been killing it as far as the design goes. Li Ning, Way of Wei, all their shoes look freaking amazing. And it kind of, you know, it kind of looks like a Kyrie too, especially with all the spikes and stuff like that. It kind of reminds me of the teeth design like the Kyries. So yeah, tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah, it feels really, really nice so far, you know, and this is a very, very good prerequisite to the Kyrie signature shoe line that Anta's probably gonna release soon, and I'm very, very excited about it, and it makes sense that Kyrie likes it, but it feels like it has way better cushion than the average of Kyrie's cushion in the Nike shoe line. You know what I mean? Like Kyrie's weren't the best for cushion until like what? Even like the 5 was all right, even though it had Zoom Turbo, you know? But with the full length nitro foam and like the softer showboard, like stepping comfort's pretty damn nice. But with really, really good court feel. I would say this has the best court feel out of every other Kyrie shoe that I've tried. You know what I mean? This has really good court feel. So very, very excited to see what Anta has to offer, but the Shockwave 5 is feeling really good so far. My first impressions are amazing. So anyways, that about concludes this video. Again, if you guys do want to call, I'll try to leave a link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.